Welcome back to my channel. In this video, British doctors get honored after returning from Gaza. Now, it only takes those who have been there to witness what has been happening in Gaza to know how bad the situation has been there. For many of us, we have just been seeing everything on social media, but I can only imagine how these doctors felt when they were that side, what they saw and the trauma. A lot has been happening, and I remember sharing a video of another doctor who shared her experience when she returned from helping out in Gaza. She told us how Palestinians are suffering with no water and food, and how they are brought in every day with wounds on their bodies, broken bones, to mention but just a few. Now, this including these children, the young, the old, it's everyone. Just from the videos, we have seen how these children are left traumatized with everything happening there. Children witnessing their mothers, friends and family members being unalived. It really has been very sad even to watch on social media. Talk more of being there and witnessing it happen. Check out this video as they welcome them back.
This is indeed a special moment, painful but inspiring, to receive these wonderful doctors, British doctors, who went to Gaza right in the middle of the carnage of the side of the atrocious terrorist attacks, went to our hospitals to heal our wounded and to give a hand to our doctors and our nurses, to our medical staff, our heroes. They represent the best of Britain. They represent the best of humanity. They give us hope that the Palestinian people are not alone, and therefore, in the name of the state of Palestine and the people of Palestine, we are here to honor every one of them and to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You do give us hope, Dr. Nick and Dr. Khalid, and Dr. James and Dr. Omar, and all the people here today. I know what you have seen was horrific, but what you have done was heroic in every sense. We will remember your dedication, your bravery, your devotion to the cause of peace and to the cause of justice, your love to the Palestinian people, and help when help was needed. And hopefully we will see that you will come when Gaza is free, when Palestine is free, when the carnage has ended. You will come to a free, independent, sovereign, prosperous state of Palestine. Thank you again.
Thank you very much indeed, and thank you for welcoming us today. It's a great honour to be here. I think that we felt it was a great privilege to have the opportunity to go into Gaza to help the people. Many of us have been to Gaza on many occasions. Every time I go, it gets a deeper place into my heart. It was horrific, many of what we saw, but it was also wonderful seeing some of our friends and seeing the beautiful Gazan people who are as beautiful as ever. And we had very, very mixed emotions during the trip. We were horrified by much of what we saw, but we were in awe of what the Gazan people are doing to survive, what the doctors and the nurses are doing as volunteers to try and save all the lives out there. We were terribly sad to leave, but all of us, the minute we'd got out, we have started planning our next trip, and we want to go back as soon as we can. And the amount of messages I have received, I think we've all received from fellow healthcare workers in our country. There are so many people in England and Ireland, I've been in contact with so many people who want to go into Gaza to help. It's a very, very special place, and it was a great privilege to have the opportunity to go in there to help as much as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Khalid.
I think going to Gaza, which is my ancestral home, is always very special for me. And going in and seeing what happened from the moment we arrived in Rafah to the moment we left from Rafah as well, has a special place, I think, in my heart. And I mean, the lasting memories that I have of spending my time in Gaza are the people's endurance, people's resilience, but at the same time, the normalization which bothers me of what's going on in Gaza. And I do worry for them. I feel a huge amount of guilt, I think, as many people do when we leave Gaza, that we're leaving behind people who are colleagues, friends, and we make a lot of friends very quickly in Gaza. So that's definitely a lasting impression. And certainly we all want to go back as soon as possible to be of any help. I think many people feel the same way. We want to go back and do something just to have an impact, have some kind of contribution to what they're going through.
Thank you, Khaled. James.
I mean, I feel much the same way. I think for myself, it was my first time visiting Gaza. I've been to the West Bank. I absolutely will return to Gaza at the next nearest opportunity. I recall, I think it was yourself, Khaled, saying something shortly after we arrived with respect to how we were feeling about being there. And I really felt that I was exactly where I wanted and needed to be on a very personal level. I feel very strongly and passionately about the future of Palestine. I have done since I was a child. And I think for me, there was a sense of frustration, anger really, when we weren't in Gaza, that we were here and feeling a deep desire as physicians to do what we've trained to do. And then to be in Gaza and to be able to do something, however small, felt really, really important. And much like Nick and Khaled and the rest of the team that aren't here today, I really can't wait to go back, and hopefully under much better circumstances.
You will be welcome back. Dr. Omar.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. So I didn't go into Gaza this time around. I hope to be in with the team the next opportunity. We also have to remember Dr. Deborah Harrington, Dr. Samir Shah, and a few other colleagues who have been in during this time. Unfortunately, they can't be here today, but they are brave men and women. And I'm proud to stand alongside these heroes, really. And the heroes inside Gaza, the doctors and nurses and paramedics and the health workers and the general people, the children of Gaza, who are really the best of humanity. And it is watching them that has provided that willpower for these doctors to go in and help. And I hope that we will form this formidable army of doctors, healthcare workers that will rebuild Gaza, will rebuild a free Gaza and a free Palestine, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Now, I don't know if you saw this, but 2 months ago, London healthcare workers honored fallen Gaza physicians. Now, healthcare workers assembled in front of the Prime Minister's office in London, holding up placards with the names of over 200 physicians who got unalived in the ongoing Gaza military campaign by the Israeli army. This poignant display was accompanied by an emotional plea from a doctor reading an emergency message from the director of Gaza's major trauma hospital. The director's message urgently called for a ceasefire and a safe corridor for medical staff, emphasizing the perilous conditions and steadfast commitment of healthcare professionals amidst this crisis. Now, none has been safe in this place, but we are seeing people who are willing to help, willing to go into Gaza to help the Palestinians, and some who have returned are even willing to go back and still continue to help the Palestinian people. Now, a lot of doctors who have been to Gaza to volunteer share their experiences in Gaza on the times they were there and the atrocious acts that they witnessed. From the time Israel began being Gaza following Hamas's October 7th attack, the charity Medicine Sans Frontiers, which is often referred to as MSF, or by its English name Doctors Without Borders, has been documenting the humanitarian disaster in Gaza, where thousands of people have already been unalived, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Now, Annie Taylor, the head of mission for MSF in Palestine, who's based in Jerusalem, did discuss what her organization had witnessed and what life is like for her staff on the ground. She said, "We've had a program there for many years. We worked in various hospitals supporting the Ministry of Health. We did some secondary health care, including surgical work with burns, and we worked in Al Shifta Hospital in Gaza City. We also had our own private clinic. We had a couple of other clinics that were run alongside the Ministry of Health and at other hospitals, and we worked down in the south at the Nasa Medical Center. So there were various hospitals that were associated with and some of our own primary healthcare facilities as well. That was all before the dreadful things that happened on 7th of October, which seems a long time ago. And since then, it's just been a very catastrophic situation for people of Gaza who are already living in difficult circumstances and who have been suffering under a strict blockade for years. Now, they've always been under pressure and occasionally have had bees dropped on them. It was usually over a period of a few days or weeks. In the current situation, the Israeli military started being a very heavily populated area, Gaza City. We have to remember it's a small place around 45 kilometers in length and between between 6 and 12 kilometers wide and with over 2 million people. Right now, we have got an existing staff of about 300 Palestinians, and we rotated back in some international staff. We actually have a team of about 13 international staff here working in D.O.C.T.E.R.S Medical Center down in the south, a surgical team. So they're doing work there at this present time. Yes, we've lost current and former employees, and many of our employees have lost family members. It's been very, very traumatic. There have been a lot of collapses of buildings. So some of our staff have lost families in that way. It's a very tragic situation. When the 7th of October happened, we had 20 experts there. So we rotate. We actually took them out because it was a pretty traumatic experience. And then we brought in a new team. And the idea is that we'll continue to complement that new team. But you have to understand that Gaza is very, very insecure at the moment. And also there are huge problems around the supply of food, electricity, water, and fuel. We are having real trouble in the north. It's just being ripped apart at the moment. And in the south, we are having to try and work around. Very, very difficult. The supply of these things is just not enough. It's not enough. It's different. And yes, I have worked in conflict zones and they are always very nasty. But this is a particularly brutal thing because of the huge number of civilian casualties. And they can't escape it. They can't move. They are told to displace down south. But we are talking about just reducing the area from 45 kilometers to 20 kilometers in length and trying to put 2 million people in there. It's just an extraordinary situation. Now, the reported number of healthcare workers unalived in just 10 weeks of Israel's assault on Gaza did exceed the total number unalived in all countries in conflict globally in any single year since 2016. Medical Aid for Palestinians said. Now, since Israel's military assault began on 7 October, at least 300 health workers have been reported unalived, according to the UN, and this is more than the total number of health workers unalived recorded across all countries in conflict in these other years and in any single year since 2016. Now, Israel's relentless attacks on healthcare personnel and facilities and total siege are systematically dismantling Gaza's health system. Less than a quarter of hospitals are functioning due to insecurity, damage, and lack of fuel, and the average bed occupancy of those that remain operational is more than 200%. Now, these doctors are witnessing a whole new scale of attacks on healthcare in Gaza. Now, other doctors that have been to Gaza did share that they used to get dozens of wounded people at a time, which is overwhelming, and all the hospital beds were full, so they resorted to treating injured on the floor or in the theater. Not only are all the still operational hospitals in the Gaza Strip frantically busy, but they also have a severe shortage of medicines and supplies, and both electricity and water and scarce after Israel cut off fuel supplies that kept the power and desalination plants running. There is not enough equipment in the operation room or intensive care. There are patients with serious, but they cannot be treated properly. Now, patients cannot be transferred to other hospitals because they are also at breaking point. These are some of the experiences of some doctors who have been to Gaza to help out. And from the stories that they're giving out, we can see how bad the situation is there. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Don't forget to share your thoughts on this video.